Nahare, he dropped some gospel on us, some holy gospel about the entire multiverse of the Dragon Ball universe. The translation from the subtitles in Crunchyroll, Nahare explains that long ago, the good supreme demon king of that age sought to expand the demon realm. So this is apparently the good side of one of the supreme demon kings. He was looking to expand the demon realm. And from here, he mentions that he ordered the powerful Super Majin Rymus to create the universe. And Vegeta's like, Rymus, as if Vegeta knows what that is. As if he's heard something from there. So that was quite interesting. And so we get this funny looking character as it pans up, and he says, yes, they're still the highest authority in the universe, the Rymus. Now, this should look familiar to you, because this character looks a lot like Zeno. And Zeno, from what we're told in Dragon Ball Super, which takes place several years after DAIMA, we're told that Zeno is the god among gods of Dragon Ball. He is the almighty. Like, there is no god that exceeds past him. So I was wondering, is it possible that this is where Zeno comes from? This is his race, and that he might be the last one, or the current one from that universe, from that race, basically, that makes him the highest god of all of the Dragon Ball multiverse. So that was really cool to see. And from here, he explains that these Rymus characters, they created various universes, and we see them. This is the multiple universes expanding beyond the demon realm, and we get some really cool shots. And he ends up stating how a lot of the Majins at that time ended up going freely, because they could freely jump between Warp and everything, Warp and everything. So they freely go between all these other different universes, and that included a lot of the Glens. And from here, he mentions that basically they were sent out to monitor the universes as the Supreme Kais, and that's how a lot of the Glens were chosen, basically, because yeah, they look after a lot of the universes. Like, if you ever wonder, for those that don't know, the reason why I often call Nahare the East Kaioshin, because in the Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball towards the end of the manga, he explained that there was like the East Kaioshin, the West, there was multiple versions of the Kaioshin until Buu wiped them all out. And there we see Gowasu, who of course would play a role later on in Dragon Ball Super during the Goku Black arc. And then we start seeing the other Kaioshins who are from the multiple 12 universes. And so there we go. We're understanding their history and where they came from. And I love that Dragon Ball DAIMA is nicely fitting right into the timeline from Toriyama's hand into Dragon Ball Super. So this explains where they all come from in Dragon Ball Super, and nicely, seamlessly can go into their series. So I love it. That's just absolutely fantastic. And so once again, it is explained, like I said, with Sir Warp, that they were freely able to transfer, but because Abura, basically, I guess he was kind of like Frieza, he didn't like the idea that someone could probably become stronger and overthrow him or something along those lines. He ended up basically putting the kibosh on that, and that's why you need pin codes now in order to go between the demon realm and the outside world, or the different demon realms. And Abura, of course, is Dabura's father, who basically is just a fat version of Deborah. And basically right here, Goku even mentions, like, do you know that all the Glens come from trees? And so we see right there, that was a shot earlier in earlier episodes where we learned that, okay, that's the trees that they were coming from, taking what Toriyama said in an interview long time ago, basically, and putting it right here into Dragon Ball DAIMA. And from there, it's further elaborated on by Nahare that eventually the Glens, they all left and everything and stuff like that, and there was no reason to even go ahead. So many of them left, there was no reason to plant seeds anymore for them, and so that was the end of that in terms of the Glen race. And this is where Bulma, aka Bulma, is like, does that mean that there's not many left? You all are like an endangered species and there won't be much left at all? And so Nahare says that's right. So that's interesting. He's the last of his kind. I wonder too how this ties into Randai Kaioshin, aka the old elderly Kai? Like, how much further back was he for this? Because, like, was he like 15 generations or something, going back to like the Z Sword? Phantom Flame says, I'm getting the vibe Zeno is Remos kid, or a destroyer to Remos creator Toll. yeah, man. I like he's got to be somewhere in there, and I'm like, that's why I'm really interested in when Daima's over. I'm hoping that this all ties some way back into Dragon Ball Super and where it might be going, hopefully by the end of Z portion. So yeah, that's really awesome. And then Hybis, he basically mentions here how he notices that Dr. Rensu and Dagetsu are not very nice people, and that's basically, he finds out that yeah, those are his siblings. That's Nahare's siblings, of course. And so from here, Bulma, he's like, well, would you like to go see your old home planet or something again before we before we head out and stuff? And Nahare says, no, there's nothing there. We've got more important things to do, like get that second Dragon Ball. And this is where Vegeta's like, yeah, that's right. He says, because it's time to kick the butt of the person that turned us into kids so we can become adults again. So let's get those Dragon Balls, you know. So Vegeta starts rallying up the troops, basically. He's like, he's ready to make them pay, make them suffer. So Vegeta's all ready, and so there you go. We have the whole gang together, and they all start going into the ship here, and the first one to complain is Son Goku, like, it's cramping here. Vegeta's completely angry, and I can't blame him for that. You know, they're being nice enough to even let you on their ship after you told them, like, no, you can't come on our ship because we got too much stuff. So that was cool. But it's great to see the whole cast together here, and Bulma tells Glorio, hey, you want to go ahead and captain the ship and everything and fly it? And Hybis gets right in her face, goes like, you trying to dig at me? Oh, he's like, you trying to dig at me? Is that supposed to be something against me? And Bulma smiles and says, well, like you said, you don't know this realm that much, right? And then Hibiscus quickly turns, goes like, all right, Glorio, you're up. Take the front line. I love Hibiscus. He's just, he kind of just looks really super dopey, but he's like super, is like super literal, like just he's such a like a quiet roaster and everything, and just his reactions, like just a funny, amazing character. And then from there, they end up closing the door, and out of nowhere, Neva, the Namekian from the earlier, ends up showing up in the shadows. Basically, he's walking closer to their ship, and I'm wondering if they even notice him. And he starts laughing, because I remember in the Japanese, in the English dub version, like I said, he kind of sounds like the creepy old guy off Family Guy. He's got like this really old bitch-eyed voice, and he's like older and everything, sounding like that. Like, so I can imagine how creepy that's gonna hilariously sound. And Neva, of course, you know, we know how strong he is when it comes to gathering the Dragon Balls and everything.